What's up, world? I just want to make a quick video because I was outside and I see a lot of people that have graduated, I think junior high school, gymnasiet, and in Sweden we call it studenten, right? And I was, and I'm looking at these people and I'm baffled. Like, why are you honking? Why are you so happy? Okay. Now you're gonna call me a hater that I've been drinking the haterade. It's not so much the haterade because even during my own graduation, I really didn't celebrate it like that. To me, it was whatever. Why is that? The Swedish public school system, if you ask me, now if you Google it, it's gonna say it's one of the top ranking ones, which is horseshit. Swedish media has always talked about how Swedish students' school system has kind of been dropping significantly in terms of knowledge level and so forth. And I would argue the IQ level is getting lower and lower due to the TikTok brains and whatnot. Now, if the self-centered certain Western institutions don't want to admit that, that's a different story. But from what I have heard from students from Iran, from China, and these places, when they compare their curriculum with the Swedish curriculum, they say the Swedish curriculum is actually a joke. And I wasn't a top student myself, but I can imagine that, a country like China is absolutely pumping out, engineers way more so than Sweden or America or any Western country. That's one thing. You didn't graduate exactly from a very top tier education system. So let's not drive around and waste gas and honk in these streets and act as if you have accomplished like a major thing for the most part. Most of you went to average to below average schools. It's not like you went to elite schools. Number two, you're entering a future where AI is going to wipe out a lot of your job prospects, especially if you're going to engineering, psychology, and all these useless degrees. For the most part, is not gonna like do much. Social work, perhaps, but I've been in social work, as you know, before. It's not exactly a very, for a man at least, I would say it's a bullshit business. Don't go in there. It's filled with misandry and just all in all. And by the way, most of your female coworkers, they don't even date other social worker men because most social worker men are fucking gay. Not gay per se, but very effeminate. So I would say blue collar is very much so in the safe zone. I'm not saying engineer is completely out the map, but it's definitely harder to get jobs as an engineer these days. So that's what I would say in this video. Be realistic, and on top of that, there's so much in weird grade manipulation within the Swedish school system these days, especially within the private sector, but even in the public school system, right? For example, the private school system, they give you a higher grade to get more money from the city, the municipality. That's how they get more grants and so forth, right? In the public school system, if the teacher likes you, they can give you a higher grade sometimes, So there is a little bit of favoritism there. And on top of that, there's these national tests. If you score well on the test, but if you fuck up during the rest of the semester, you can actually get a higher grade still, which is quite weird to me. This is not a honest school system, in my opinion. On top of that, the school system here is so undisciplined. Teachers have no authority. You can call them every slur under the sun, and they just have to sit there and take it. And it's a very female-dominated profession. And I always wonder, do these women have like this self-harming kink where they love to be called, all types of derogatory names? Do they get turned on by this? I don't know. But all I know is that a lot of these female teachers, they age like 10 years. They look like ish, no offense. And that's because it's such a stressful environment, you know, and they feel like shit, probably. But in my head, it's like, as a sane person, why the hell would you go into the Swedish school system if you have no authority to discipline? If you get death threats from parents, what's the point? To me, it's like, yeah, you do have a self-harming fetish going on here. Something is off within your head. But hey, it's Sweden in a nutshell. You know, everything is low affection here. You know, whatever. And I think you're making a huge disservice to these children anyway. Children need discipline. They need boundaries. You're not gonna do them any favors, you know, by just allowing them run amok. So that's my thoughts on that. The only thing I can tell these newly graduated 19, 20-year-old kids is that choose your career paths wisely. Do research on the job market. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. If you liked the video, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.